Alright, today I'm going to reseal my 135. The seals are getting pretty old and they're stained blue, so I'm going to redo this tank. And what you're going to need a utility knife. I like this kind because you can send a blade further out. You get closer to the glass. And you're also going to need some extra razor blades. We're not going to use those right now, but I'll show you what to do with those later. Right now, I'm just removing the bulk of the silicone with the utility knife, and I just extend it out like this, and then well, it's kind of hard to do here, and just go along the silicone like such to loosen it away from the glass. You'll do that all the way around the tank, or whatever, and then you should be able to take the silicone and put that down. Take the silicone and then kind of peel it out of the tank. Guess I didn't get it rubbed in here. Here we go. And just peel it out. And you do that until you get all of the bulk of the silicone removed, and then we'll use a razor blade to finish it up. So alright, let me finish doing this and show you what's next. Alright, I got a majority of the silicone off the corners and sides and stuff. So now the next step is to take my razor blade right here, and you'll want to move as much of the silicone as possible with your utility knife, because it'll make this step a lot easier. All the way around the edges, there could probably be a thin layer of silicone still left. Sometimes you can't see it, but if you run your finger across it, you can still feel it. And you'll have to take your razor blade and go through and remove it all, even the tiniest little speck that you can feel. If it feels rough and not like smooth glass, that means there's still silicone on there, and you'll need to get it off there, because the new silicone won't stick to the old silicone. And if it doesn't stick, it's not going to seal. So you'll have to take and go through and remove every last bit of the old silicone off the corners. And then once you do that, you'll be ready to wipe it down with alcohol or something and start resealing, but we'll get to that later. Now I'm going to remove the last bit of the silicone. So, alright, I have removed all the silicone from the corners now. We got it all cleaned up, it's smooth. There's no more residue there. And now what I need to do is take some rubbing alcohol and just wipe down all the corners really good. That way it gets rid of any dirt, grease, oils, or whatever that's built up. And then we'll be ready to reseal. So let me do that, and then I'll show you what you'll need to do to reseal it. Alright, I got everything wiped down with rubbing alcohol, cleaned corners and stuff. And here's a step some of you might want to do, is take some masking tape and tape the corners about, I don't know, quarter, half-inch away from the edges. This way it gives you a nice straight edge on your silicone and looks really nice. I mean, this is going to be one of my show tanks, so I want to do it on my front corners at least. The bottom I'm not going to worry about, and I'll probably do it on the back. But I mean, I've done this before and I haven't done this before, so it's no big deal. It's just what you prefer. If you want it to look really nice, I recommend taping your corners. And I'm getting ready to start laying silicone. Now a lot of you want to know what kind of silicone you can use. You can use just about any kind. This is Red Devil 100% silicone. As long as it's 100% silicone and doesn't have any mildew inhibitors added to it, you can use it. I've used Red Devil, I've used DAP, I've used G2. Like I said, as long as it's 100% silicone and there's nothing extra added, It usually says on the front label somewhere if there's something added, but as long as it's one of those 100% silicone, it's safe to use. And all right, so let me finish taping this off, and I'll be ready to lay a bead. Okay, I'm all ready to start laying a bead of silicone on the tank here. And what I like to do, I like to lay a bead on all the corners first before I smooth it out or anything. And to smooth it out, you can use just about anything. I've seen people use a credit card, the back of a spoon, your finger, just anything that's got a rounded corner pretty much. I like to use my finger just because that way I can feel if there's any air bubbles or anything as I'm going across it. It's messy that way, but that's the way I like to do it, just so I can feel. And another thing is, make sure you're in a well ventilated area. This stuff's really strong, and I got a fan going in our room. And after you get the silicone laid, you don't want to stick your head inside the tank and take a breath, because wow, it's really strong in there. I recommend doing it out in the garage or something. You don't want to do this in your house because it's going to leave a strong smell. And but yeah, and silicone. Another thing is, you gotta let it cure before you add your water. And a lot of them say let it cure for 24 hours on the back of the tube. I prefer at least 3 days, 3 days to a week. Let it cure before you add any water at all, and then you can add your water and fill it up and do your leak test. So and another thing is, you want to have a pretty decent sized hole. Lay a pretty decent sized silicone bead. I mean, as you can see next to my thumb, I got a pretty good sized hole there. Maybe 3/8 of an inch, somewhere around there. So, but yeah, you want a lot of silicone, especially on a bigger tank. On a 10-gallon tank, you don't need such a big bead of silicone. But this is 135 gallons, so it's a pretty large tank. I want a nice sized bead on the corners there. So let me do that, and I'll show you what it looks like when we're all done. Alright, I got the silicone in. I used my finger, I smoothed it out. And now I just got to remove the tape there while it's still wet so it doesn't rip. But now on the bottom I didn't tape. I don't care because I'm going to leave a substrate, and it's kind of messy down there. And I put it extra thick too, just because it's the bottom. I'm not going to see it, so it's no big deal. But some of you is going to use a show tank with no substrate at all, just bare bottom tank. You may want to tape it off so it looks a little better. But and another tip is, after you get it all done, and you got excess silicone on spots on the glass where you don't want it, just take a razor blade and scrape it off. I mean, it's no big deal. Alright, and so I'll let it dry for a few days now, and then I'll water test it. So this is how you reseal your aquarium. I hope this helps you out, and if you have any questions, just post in the comments below. Thank you. Bye.